The Russian government sought to interfere in our election. We now know that the Russian operatives who perpetrated these schemes did not have the cooperation of President Trump or the Trump campaign.
All right, welcome back. Straight to a Fox News alert. The released Mueller report vindicating the president or damaging him. Well, it depends on who you ask.
But is it time to investigate the investigators? That's a question that's been floating around.
Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton back with us. He has been looking into this entire investigation for the last couple of years, and he joins us now. At the end of all of this, Tom, we do see a pretty clear picture of no collusion, which is why this all started. Obstruction appears a bit hazy. Is that fair?
Oh, there's no obstruction. The Attorney General looked at all of this. There's no obstruction. This is a lot of gossip dressed up as a suggestion of obstruction in that portion of the report. I think it was a partisan political effort to provide at least some grist for the Democrat impeachment mill. And, of course, the Democratic Party was behind this improper investigation. And even the first part of the report that shows no collusion could have been completed in, a few pages. It's page after page of immaterial, unsubstantial, unsurprising, and often appropriate contacts between the Russians and people associated in and around Trump world. Nothing inappropriate about anything going on.
What about the Veselnitskaya meeting at Trump Tower? That's the one that they really point to.
Immaterial, unsubstantial, and and frankly legal. And I didn't see much of a problem with it. They had information that the Russians had corruption information on Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump Jr. said, "Yeah, I'll meet with anyone about that."
Okay,
and it turns out they were forthcoming about the meeting, and they tried to spin obstruction even from that. Look, the president has been terribly forthcoming about all of this. He's authorized all of his people to talk about executive privilege covered conversations, and somehow we're supposed to believe he was trying to obstruct a non-crime. This was this was Mueller's final abuse of power, in my view. This report should never have been written, and sure enough, there's never anyone who's going to be satisfied in the deep state or the establishment party by anything that seems to exonerate President Trump.
But so we know that there was no collusion. That has been made very clear, and the president has been saying that all along. And in fact, in the report, it talks about substantial evidence to show that the president was frustrated, that he did feel like this was undermining his presidency. And I don't think a lot of people can really argue that point. I think the point that people are hung up on, and they're going to be hung up on for a while, is the fact that the president, reportedly asked people to do certain things, and that's where the question of obstruction comes in. So you still say
Senator Sessions should never have recused himself. The report said, the details, the communications he had with the Russians, they were insubstantial. They did not require his recusal. The president was upset Sessions recused himself. He had hired this man to run the Justice Department. Within minutes, he recuses himself, and you have this massive investigation harassing the president, and he had no way to have anyone rein it in an appropriate fashion. He was right to be upset and to try to fix that. And then on top of that, you had this Mueller appointment, which was had all elements of corruption in its appointment. You had Comey steal records, leak them to the New York Times in order to get Mueller appointed. And then it turns out Rod Rosenstein was talking about invoking the 25th Amendment and wearing a wire and appointing a special counsel all at the same time. I tell you what, I'd like to see a report that gets into the Justice Department machinations during the Obama administration and the early part of the Trump administration as the DOJ and the FBI collude and conspire with the Clinton campaign to target Trump.
And let's go into that, because we're going to get this Horowitz report here sometime in the next month or two, the Inspector General report. A lot of Republicans looking forward to that. Kimberly Strassel, Wall Street Journal, had a great op-ed. You probably read it. Talking about how the fact that there's nothing in the report, in the Mueller report, about the nexus, or the genesis of this. And this is a quote. How do you narrate an entire section of the July 2016 Trump Tower meeting without noting that Ms. Veselnitskaya was working alongside Fusion GPS, that she had had dinner with Glenn Simpson apparently the day before and after that meeting. She says that that tells you everything you need to know about this report. What do you say?
I didn't see anything about Fusion GPS in there. I didn't see anything about Glenn Simpson in there. I didn't see anything about the Hillary Clinton DNC operation, working with Russia intelligence to provide that information during the campaign to the Justice Department and the FBI. I didn't see any of that in there. And of course, to highlight that is to highlight the corruption and the corrupt formation of the Mueller special counsel. And I didn't see anything in there about when Mr. Mueller concluded there was no collusion. Because we know, based on, look, Rod Rosenstein said what A.G. Barr said yesterday a year ago. No Americans knowingly involved themselves with the Russians to interfere in our elections. The Attorney General announced that a year ago. Why did the special counsel not come out and say that a year ago? No, what they were doing is they were fishing around, trying to ensnare President Trump in a sleazy obstruction charge, and it failed.
Okay. All right. Well, you certainly are on it. You've been paying attention. Thank you so much, Tom. We do appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, you know, we've got the lawsuits. Quickly, guys, the quickest response here, Justice Department should open up the records, all of them. Yeah. Especially in the formation of the special counsel operation.
And we'll see what Horowitz has to say. All right, Tom, thank you so much.
Thank you.